What destroys most men isn't failure, it's hesitation, delay, excuses disguised as logic, days wasted in distraction, nights consumed by regret, and still they wake up hoping something will change without changing themselves. This video isn't here to comfort you, it's here to confront you, because the truth is brutal. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your partner, not the world. The only person who can shift your destiny is staring at you in the mirror. You say you want discipline, success, strength, and clarity, but what you do each day reflects the opposite, and that contradiction is killing your progress, quietly, slowly, without mercy. This is Stoicism, unfiltered, not philosophy for coffee shop debates, but a weapon for real life. A mindset forged to survive chaos, overcome weakness, and crush the lie that you need more time. You don't. Why do men who win never wait? Because waiting is a slow death. It's better to look foolish now than to regret later. And the world doesn't care how you feel, it only moves when you do. What you need is the truth. What you need is action. What you need is this moment. So if you're ready to eliminate excuses, reclaim your power, and build a life rooted in discipline, not emotion, you're in the right place. Hit that like button if this has already hit something inside you. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're not done. We're just getting started. Now take a breath and let's begin. 1. You are both the problem and the solution. A man may lie to everyone around him and still get away with it, but the moment he lies to himself, he is finished. You may pretend you are progressing, you may post some inspiring quotes, you may speak big things about goals, but when the door is shut and nobody is seeing you, only you know the truth, the effort is not there. You are stuck, not because the world is unfair, but because giving up has become a habit. And Stoicism does not have any tolerance for men who make excuses for themselves. It is not your boss, not your parents, not even your past that is stopping you. It is your own hesitation to face yourself. Every time you hit the snooze button instead of getting up, every time you complain but do not change anything, you are strengthening the belief that you are helpless. But power is not something that is gifted to you. It is something you take. Marcus Aurelius ruled over an empire in conditions most people today cannot even imagine. Wars, betrayal, plague. Still, he used to sit down every night and write to his own mind. He knew clearly, the only battle worth winning is the one inside your own head. Let us talk about David Goggins. Before anyone knew his name, he was broken. Overweight, depressed, cleaning pest-filled kitchens during night shift. No recognition, no fitness. But one day, looking into the mirror, he asked himself one question that most people never dare to ask. If not me, then who is stopping me? That shift in mindset changed his entire life. He did not wait for motivation to come. He began running, not for others to clap, not for social media, but to destroy the weaker version of himself, step by step. No excuses, just sweat, pain, and daily self-accountability. And what about you? You are not in a war zone. You are not wiping cockroaches off kitchen counters at 3 a.m. No one is hunting you. Still, you are losing small battles every single day. Battle against laziness, against distractions, against all the justifications you keep telling yourself. The worst part? You act as if it is not your responsibility. You blame your job, your background, your schedule. But Stoicism does not permit such thinking. It teaches self-mastery. It says stop acting like a victim and take charge. You say you want a new life. Then start respecting the one you already have. Wake up even 20 minutes earlier. Write your thoughts in a journal before touching your mobile. Go for training even if you feel tired. Replace endless scrolling with meaningful reading. Say no to comfort food, to comfort people, to comfort behavior. Do what is necessary, not what is easy. You do not need a guru. You do not need a long plan. You only need one thing: brutal honesty. That is what Stoicism gives: truth without polishing, progress without attention-seeking. So if your life is feeling stuck, if you are tired of feeling like a shadow of the person you can be, then ask this right now, not tomorrow. Where am I avoiding responsibility? Where am I choosing comfort over courage? And then, take action. One decision, one step. Today. No excuses. 2. The world owes you nothing. A man begins to collapse the moment he believes that the world owes him something. Once you start thinking that your hard work automatically guarantees reward, your downfall has already begun. This mindset is not strength, it is entitlement. only dressed in respectable clothing. And Stoic thought dismantles such entitlement from its roots. You may work hard, you may follow all the rules, but if you believe that will guarantee praise, love, promotion, or loyalty, you are preparing yourself for disappointment. The world does not adjust itself to your expectations. It runs on its own rules. Seneca had cautioned us long ago, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is truly poor. Craving recognition is the easiest way to remain mentally and emotionally broke. You love someone and wait for it to be reciprocated. You arrive early to office and expect people to take notice. You support friends and wait for them to repay the favor. But what if they do not? What if no one claps? What if they forget your name? If that breaks you, then your intention was never pure. It was transactional. And no peace can be built on a calculation sheet of expectations. Last year, I met one gentleman, around 38 years of age, working in a warehouse, father of 2 small children. He looked frustrated, said he had given 10 years of hard work but was overlooked for promotion again. "This is totally unfair," he told me. "They promoted some new guy who just joined." I asked him one question. "Did you ever tell your manager you were interested in the role?" He went quiet, then softly replied, "No, I assumed they already knew." This is where many men get stuck. Quiet effort, silent disappointment, and a belief that others should read their intentions. But the world does not read minds. It notices those who speak clearly, take initiative, and stand with conviction. You want respect? Then stop assuming it will just come on its own. You want a better salary? Ask, back it up with clear results. You want love? Give it fully, but do not place conditions on how it should come back to you. The world is not under any obligation, not your employer, not your partner, not even your family. You were born with breath, not with any signed agreement. So stop expecting returns for every ounce of effort you give. Live with clarity, not with terms and conditions. This is what Stoicism teaches: detachment from results. Do the right action because it is the right action. Be present because it strengthens your character. Work sincerely because it shapes you. Love fully because it sets you free. And do not measure what others give back. When you expect nothing, you gain everything. You become unshakable, unbothered. The one who cannot be disappointed is the one who keeps moving forward regardless of applause. You say you've already done your duty? Then repeat it again and again, without cribbing, without keeping score, without waiting for someone to clap. Stop chasing fairness. Life is not always fair, but you can still take command of it if you stop expecting anything in return. Now ask yourself, in which area of life are you sitting back and waiting for someone to recognize your effort? Where are you secretly building resentment because no one noticed? Be truthful. Then change the narrative. Take initiative. Speak with clarity. Let go of this imaginary agreement you think life signed for you. Do your part, without expectation. That is true freedom. That is Stoic strength. No applause, no blame, no excuses. 3. There's no perfect time to start. Time will not wait for your confidence to arrive. The world does not slow down to match your sense of readiness. Still, most men live under the impression that one fine day a perfect signal will appear, some kind of green light telling them, now is the time. But that day never comes. They wait for clarity, for certainty, for a gap in the storm. What they fail to understand is, the storm is life. You do not avoid it by waiting. You survive it by stepping inside it, head on. Epictetus clearly said, if you wish to improve, be satisfied to appear foolish and stupid. And that is exactly what stops most people. They are not afraid of failure. They are afraid of looking unprepared, afraid of judgment. But the man who begins, despite all that, he learns. He gains strength. He evolves. The world respects such people, not because they start strong, but because they dare to start. There was one fellow I knew, Matt. Wanted to start a podcast. He had a good voice, relevant ideas, sharp perspectives, but kept delaying, always saying, I need better equipment. I require more research. Weeks became months. Months became years. Finally, he admitted, I'm scared it won't be good enough. That was the truth. Not lack of tools, not lack of skill, just fear disguised as perfectionism. This happens everywhere. Men delaying their mission, obsessing over perfect launches. Meanwhile, others who are less prepared jump in, fail fast, adapt quicker, and move ahead. Waiting is not wisdom. It is silent sabotage, a polite form of fear. You convince yourself that you are preparing, but actually you are escaping. You trade growth for comfort, and deep inside you know the truth. Readiness and avoidance are not the same. You may fool others, but not yourself. Visualize this. A man stands at the edge of a frozen lake. He knows that jumping in will jolt his senses, challenge his strength, and develop resilience. But he hesitates. He dips his foot in, pulls it back. He walks around, stares, thinks. Others jump in, swim, and move on. He remains there, shivering, not because of cold, but because of the mental weight of delay. That is what inaction does. It freezes you from the inside. So now, ask yourself, where are you stuck? Which goal are you still thinking about? Which idea are you analyzing for the 100th time? Which action are you putting off until the so-called right time? And how long will you continue this drama of being not ready? Start regardless. You do not require the best version of yourself. You do not need anyone's approval. What you need is momentum. Action is the only valid green signal. It resets your brain. It redefines your self-image. Motivation may come and go, but initiation builds character. Run that first lap. Write that first line. Make the call. Record, even if your voice shakes, and repeat. This is what Stoic practice is. Not flashy, not dramatic, just consistent defiance against fear. When you act before you feel ready, something fundamental shifts. You stop being a bystander in your own life. You enter the struggle, not to suffer, but to earn the right to grow. That is how real men are formed, not by comfort, but by choosing action in the middle of doubt. So stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop checking the weather. You are the signal, now move. No more delays, no excuses. 4. Avoiding problems is a slow form of self-destruction. You already know what is broken. That discomfort in your stomach every time you enter the office you dislike. That conversation you keep postponing, although you know it must happen. That deep exhale when you look in the mirror and see the result of your own choices. And still, you keep quiet. You delay. You distract yourself with scrolling, snacking, sleeping, or staying busy. You hope the issue will magically disappear. But problems do not vanish with time. They grow claws. Stoic philosophy does not speak in soft language. It strikes hard. Epictetus never told men to avoid suffering. He trained them to face it with calm. He once said, "It is not things themselves which disturb us, but our opinions about them." Which means this: when you avoid a painful truth, you are not escaping the problem. You are damaging your own perception. The burden doesn't reduce, it just spreads deeper. Fear doesn't go away, it becomes your master. Avoidance doesn't bring peace, it cultivates resentment, which soon turns to bitterness. Stoicism is not about comfort, it is about confrontation. Facing discomfort early before it becomes part of your identity. There is a man who works night shift at a petrol bump near where I stay. Very quiet, highly disciplined, always alone. One evening, I casually asked why he never takes any leave. He told me, "Earlier I was in a corporate job. Big salary, AC cabin, prestige. But I hated it. I would come home irritated, shout at my kids, and drink too much. But I continued because I was scared to lose that status. Then one day, my daughter said, 'I like you better when you're not working.' He resigned 2 weeks later. Today he earns less, but he sleeps peacefully. He looks healthier. Why? Because he stopped lying to himself. Avoidance is the mask that many men wear to feel safe while living inside a fire. You bow your head, thinking the flames will die, but slowly, the smoke enters your lungs. Think of a dam with a hairline crack. At first it looks harmless. You convince yourself there is no urgency. You hear the water leaking, but learn to ignore it. Meanwhile, pressure builds, cracks multiply, and then collapse. Not because the dam was weak from the beginning, but because you pretended not to see the damage. That is what happens to a life built on denial. Every time you delay, stay silent, or make excuses, you add more weight to the damage. You wish to feel strong? Then face what you've been avoiding. That difficult discussion with your spouse, that bank statement you've been ignoring, that weight you've allowed to build, that shame you are suppressing. Bring them into light. Write it down, speak it out, take action. Even if it is uncomfortable, even if it is messy. Because the longer you wait, the more the discomfort becomes self-hatred. And nothing weakens a man faster than quietly living a life he knows he has outgrown. Ask yourself honestly, what am I pretending not to see? What pain am I masking with daily comfort? What truth have I buried so deep that it has started to fade? Stop running. Stop hiding behind silence. And stop calling your avoidance strength. Real strength is recognizing the crack, picking up the hammer, and breaking it open on your own terms before life does it for you. That is what Stoicism demands. That is courage in action. And that is how you stop dying from the inside out. No more delay, no avoidance, no excuses. 5. Discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation is like a guest who shows up without notice and disappears exactly when you need him most. You feel energized in the morning, make big plans, feel charged up, and by evening, you are back to square one. Men who depend on motivation get stuck in cycles. Start something, lose interest, and spiral. Why? Because motivation is rooted in emotion, and emotion is inconsistent. Discipline, on the other hand, is based on principle, and principle does not ask about your mood. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations because he was in the mood to write. He wrote because his mind needed structure amidst chaos. He was an emperor during the plague, betrayal, and war. Still, he showed up, daily. Not because he felt like it, but because duty didn't care about how he felt. That is the Stoic approach. Action comes first. Emotion follows later. Now think, how many tasks have you left pending just because you were not feeling it? How many times have you waited for some spark, some energy, instead of just beginning? Let me give you a simple metaphor: brushing your teeth. You don't wait to feel inspired before doing it. You just do it. Why? Because the alternative is decay. Discipline works on the same rule. It's what you do, even without thinking. Wake up early, move your body, eat clean. Watch what you consume on social media. These are not dramatic actions. They're not emotional, but they define who you become. When you stop obeying feelings and start following standards, you become a different man. And yet, what do most men do? They scroll instead of studying. They binge instead of building. They set goals and never move towards them. Their favorite excuse: I'm just not in the mindset today. But the reality is, you don't require a mindset. You require a standard. Something so strong it kicks in automatically, like a soldier. He doesn't wake up and wonder, am I in the mood to report for duty? He's trained to act. No questions, no negotiations. That's what true inner freedom looks like. Discipline under pressure. You want transformation? Set non-negotiables. Things that happen daily, without condition. Right before looking at your phone. Train at the same time daily, whether it's raining or sunny. Replace mindless scrolling with deep focus, even if only for 30 minutes. When your mind begins to resist, perfect. That is the starting point. That discomfort, that is the very place where discipline is built. Now reflect. How many hours in your day are decided by how you feel rather than what you promised yourself? How many times have you canceled on your own progress just to feel good in the short term? Are you truly ready to repeat that again for another year? The version of you that you imagine in your head, the strong one, the clear one, the resilient one, is not born during moments of excitement. He is built during the hours no one sees, in the small decisions, in the silent sacrifices, in the steady effort. You do not rise because you feel ready. You rise because you no longer tolerate remaining where you are. So next time your mind says, not today, don't answer it with justification. Don't argue, just act. Quietly, firmly, without drama, because that is how inner power is built. Not through motivation, but through unshakable consistency. No inspiration, no pampering, no excuses. 6. Success is forged through struggles. Every man wants to be strong until the situation demands strength, until it begins to hurt, until all comfort is removed and only raw effort remains. That is the point where most people give up. Not because they lack capability, but because they have been conditioned to treat discomfort as a warning sign. But pain is not your enemy. It is the doorway. Every bit of resilience, mental toughness, and personal mastery is born through struggle, not through theory or imagination. The man who avoids challenge also avoids transformation. In Discourses, Epictetus told his students, "Difficulties show what men are made of." He compared life to a wrestling match, where God, like a coach, sends opponents not to defeat you, but to develop you. He did not say escape the match. He said, enter the arena, and every man who has built anything meaningful knows this truth. You do not grow by coasting. You grow under resistance. That is the difference between the Stoic and the soft. The Stoic does not pray for easier days. He trains for heavier impact. Think of a sword. It is not formed in silence. It is shaped in fire, struck with force, cooled suddenly. The metal does not cry or complain. It withstands pressure until it becomes unbreakable. You too can be like that, but only if you stop choosing comfort. Only if you stay in the fight when the weight becomes heavy. The strength you admire in others was not born in peace. It was formed in pressure. There is a reason why gyms are empty at 5 a.m. There is a reason most people never finish what they begin. And there is a reason the few who continue, despite injuries, rejections, heartbreaks, and failures, stand apart without making noise. Not because they were lucky, but because they trained themselves to treat pressure as a signal to grow, not a reason to stop. That mindset change rewires your brain. Your entire emotional chemistry shifts. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this making me into?" Pause for a moment. Remember the last time you gave up when things became difficult. Did you call it toxic? Did you say the timing was wrong? Did you convince yourself the universe was giving you a sign to quit? Or was it actually the exact situation designed to destroy your old self and you escaped before the real transformation began? That is the pattern many men repeat. Stop hoping for a smoother road. Start training to carry more weight. You want growth? Then take on more responsibility. You want meaning? Then be willing to bleed for something bigger than yourself. You want inner peace? Then fight for it. The struggle is not in your way. The struggle is your way. So wear your shoes, face the pressure, and remember, every challenge is a mirror showing you your true reflection. Practical stoicism means choosing resistance deliberately. Voluntary discomfort. Wake up before your alarm. Choose the cold shower. Do that one extra rep when your body says stop. Refuse the easy road, because comfort builds weakness, struggle builds warriors. And if you want a life that you don't want to escape from, then face the pain that is meant to shape you. No shortcuts, no avoidance, no excuses. 7. Real joy comes from your response, not your circumstances. The world won't wait for everything to align so you can be happy. It throws chaos, loss, betrayal, and silence at you without warning. And if your peace depends on perfect conditions, you'll never have any. Because real control doesn't start with what happens around you. It starts with how you interpret it. Men fall apart not because life hits them hard, but because they believe they're not supposed to be hit. That false belief, that life owes them ease, is what breaks them. Seneca lost his wealth, his position, and ultimately his life by imperial order. But he never lost his center. Why? Because he mastered the one domain no emperor could touch, his mind. In his letters, he reminded us again and again, a wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. That is not surrender. That is sovereignty. Because when your reaction is yours to command, no event, no person, no failure owns you. Now picture a tree growing on the edge of a cliff. Wind batters it every season. The soil is thin, the storms are frequent, and it bends often, but it never breaks. Its roots dig deeper with every strike. Its trunk thickens not because the weather is kind, but because it's relentless. That's what your soul needs to become. Rooted in reality, not fantasy. Anchored in response, not reaction. Strong, not because life is gentle, but because you've decided to be unshakable. I've met men who looked like they had it all: money, muscle, followers, and yet a single comment on social media ruins their entire day. Why? Because their confidence was built on approval, not on identity. And I've seen others who lost everything: divorce, layoffs, lawsuits, and still showed up early, trained hard, and kept their word. Not because they were unaffected, but because they chose not to be defeated. The pain was real, but their reaction was stronger. Ask yourself this: what is stealing your peace right now? Is it something someone said? Something that didn't go your way? An outcome you couldn't control? Then ask this: is that external event really the problem? Or is it your unwillingness to accept it, respond to it, and rise from it? You've blamed long enough. Now it's time to take ownership of your emotional state. Not by pretending things are fine, but by training your response until it's bulletproof. Practical stoicism means starting today with a simple drill. When something frustrates you, pause. Don't speak, don't react, breathe. Identify what emotion is rising. Then ask, is this in my control? If not, but if yes, act with purpose, not panic. Write it down if needed. Say it out loud. Walk away if you must, but don't be ruled by your first impulse. Because your first impulse is often your weakest link. You don't need a life free of chaos, you need a mind trained to navigate it. And the only way to build that strength is through deliberate resistance. Daily, internal, relentless. That's how you stop being a slave to your emotions. That's how you become the man no one can shake. No more waiting for things to calm down, you become calm. No more blaming the storm, you become the cliff. And from there, nothing can move you. No reaction, no fear, no excuses. 8. Fear fades when you act courageously. Fear doesn't hit you like thunder. It drips quietly, slowly into every corner of your day. It sounds like hesitation. It hides behind phrases like maybe not yet, I need more time, what if I fail? And left unchecked, it grows roots. Not because fear is powerful, but because you feed it. Every time you wait instead of move, hide instead of speak, avoid instead of confront, you hand fear a weapon and say, here, use this against me. But Stoicism flips the weapon back in your hands. Not by eliminating fear, but by moving through it like it's not the final word. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often that death, loss, rejection, they're not tragedies. They're parts of life. He didn't beg for a lighter load. He trained for stronger shoulders. One entry in Meditations hits hard. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. There's no room for endless planning when you live with that clarity. There's only space for movement. And movement is the only antidote to fear. Imagine a bird on a power line. It doesn't sit there because the line is strong. It sits because it trusts its own wings. That's you. Life is unstable. Circumstances shift, people leave, health fades. But your wings, your mindset, your resilience, your action, those are the only things that keep you from crashing. And like wings, they only grow if you leap. Most men don't lack the tools. They lack the courage to use them. They stare at the business idea for months. They rehearse the conversation they'll never have. They visualize the goal, but never cross the start line. And the excuse is always the same. I'm just not ready yet. Ready for what? For life to give you a permission slip? For your nerves to disappear? They won't. There's no magic moment. No inner voice that says, now you're fearless. You act anyway. Fear is a test, not a stop sign. The more you sit with it, the louder it gets. But the moment you move, send the email, walk into the room, speak the truth, it weakens. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's an action in its presence. You can't think your way out of anxiety. You have to move. Take steps, even small ones. Clean the room, make the call, sign up, speak up, get rejected, get back up. That's how you train your brain to respect you. You've waited long enough. You've rationalized, postponed, prepared, and over-prepared. But deep down, you know this truth. Every day you don't act, you become smaller in your own eyes. And no one can save you from that but you. Not motivation, not advice, only action. So ask yourself, where is fear dictating your choices? What have you convinced yourself is too risky, too late, too hard? And what happens if you stay there for another year? The man you admire isn't fearless. He's decisive. He moves with uncertainty. He risks looking stupid. He starts before he's perfect. And over time, fear becomes background noise. Not because it's gone, but because it no longer controls the volume. That's how strength is built, not in waiting rooms, but in war zones. You don't rise because fear is left. You rise because you did it anyway, and from that moment forward, you were free. No more delay, no more waiting, no excuses. What you've just heard is not a motivational speech. It's a wake-up call, a return to ownership, a reminder that no one, not the world, not your past, not your circumstances, can shape your life unless you hand them the pen. Every principle we've covered, from radical responsibility to the power of daily discipline, from emotional detachment to action over fear, is drawn from Stoic philosophy because it works. It's not theory. It's not wishful thinking. It's a way to train your mind for clarity, control, and calm, especially when the world around you is loud, chaotic, and uncertain. If you want change, then stop talking about it and start applying. Start where you are. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Journal what you fear. Speak what you've been holding back. Choose discomfort deliberately. Reject excuses daily. Train your mind the way you train your body, on repetition, resistance, and refinement. No man becomes untouchable overnight. But every day you act in alignment with what you value. You take back the ground you used to give away. The men who master this path aren't superhuman. They're simply honest. Honest about their flaws, honest about their time, and honest about their choices. You can be that man. Not tomorrow, now. So I challenge you. Which part of your life needs to be reclaimed first? Drop it in the comments. Your words might give another man the courage to face his. And if this message struck a chord, don't let it fade. Revisit it, reflect on it, and most of all, live it. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life. It trains you to rise no matter how hard it gets. This is your moment. No noise, no comfort, no excuses.